Welcome, everybody. I am Sandy Scheinbaum, founder and CEO of Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. And I have with me our co-founder, Elyse Wagner. And we are here to answer all your questions. And we're also going to talk about my favorite subject, positive psychology, and how to navigate stressors during the holidays. So I'm honored that you're here, that you're joining us, and we are recording this, so we will be sending out the recording in case you can't stay for all of the talk. And we have some surprises for you as well.
Welcome, everyone. A warm welcome wherever you're tuning in from, whether you're tuning in now live or later on when you get the replay. Thank you so much for your presence and time. And we are going to do our very best to get through all of your questions and to share as much information with you as possible. So we're going to go ahead with the very first question.
Dig into the questions.
Yeah, this one is actually from Paul, so thank you. And Paul is saying, I've been practicing as a coach in the wellness space for 10 years. I can see how the functional medicine approach will revolutionize medical practice over the next decade. And I'm curious about the FMCA course, duration, and costs involved. So I think this is probably going to answer a lot of people's questions. So the course is 12 months. It is all online. And the standard tuition for the course is $7,997. But since you are participating in this webinar with us, whether you're on live or you're going to see the recording, we are offering you a very special holiday gift from us to you. So that is $500 off the standard tuition. And that code is Holiday 2019, and it's all in caps. And so you'll be able to use that after you register, and if you're curious about enrolling. So the next question is actually for Sandy, and this comes from someone named Elyse. How does your program help newly certified health coaches in finding a place to practice?
We are absolutely 100% committed to helping our graduates find work. And we're privileged to be in partnership with the Institute for Functional Medicine. The Institute for Functional Medicine is really the gold standard in training practitioners, clinicians in this functional medicine model. Because of our exclusive partnership with them, we are at all of their events, and we are the ones that their doctors are coming to hire a coach. And why is that? It's because our graduates are trained to speak their language of functional medicine. So that is the specialized functional medicine practice. On a broader level, there is a lot of growth in the whole coaching field, and we're privileged that we are approved by the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaching. What does that mean? It means that there will increasingly be opportunities within the medical field in general for those who are board certified.
And Jenny writes, is this certification recognized in Canada and other countries? And I just want to say, yes, it is. We, specifically with Canada, we're recognized as a program with the Health Coach Alliance in Canada. So if you have questions about that, specifically around Canada or any other countries that you're in, I know that we had someone come on here from Australia, and I saw Germany as well. And we have students from all over the world. So if you have questions specifically about functional medicine and how to coach in your specific country and what that looks like, I really encourage you to reach out to our admissions team. You can reach them via email, admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. You can also call us at 855-270-3622. And I also want to encourage you to check out the website. We have got a very large amount of resources on the website, including a contact us page, and you can schedule a call with someone from our admissions team. We actually have someone from Australia on our admissions team.
We have a great group from Australia, in fact, from all over the world. And I love to interact with our international students. Many of them have gone on to do incredible things. And so we have a very robust and growing international community.
So Alejandra asks, is this valid like a degree in nutrition or certification?
So we issue a certificate of completion, and then our graduates are eligible to sit for the national board exam from the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching. And 100% this is valid. So the national board is in partnership with the National Board of Medical Examiners. And so it is valid, and it is so recognized that it is now the American Medical Association, beginning at the end of the year, is releasing what's called CPT codes. Those are procedural codes that eventually, this is on track so that coaches will be able to accept insurance if they are board certified. So the certification for coaches is valid. What we issue is valid. It shows that you have completed our requirements, thus allowing you to go on to become a board certified health and wellness coach. It's a pretty exciting time to be entering coaching.
It's pretty, yeah, it is pretty exciting. And Chris asks, how many hours are needed to start the program? And we like to say that there's anywhere between 10 to 20 hours that are required a week for the coursework. So this is flexible, learn at your own pace, and Sandy can talk a little bit more about that. But there are 3 scheduled what we call live training sessions, or LTSs. And those are 3 times a month for about 90 minutes. And you are meeting with a course facilitator, so someone who's gone through the program, as well as a smaller cohort group.
And that's really the key to the program. And it's what people absolutely love. It's meeting over Zoom like we are, and you really get to know people in your cohort. And I want to say that you choose your group based on your availability. So you're not forced into a particular time slot or day of the week if that doesn't work for you. You look at your schedule and you choose a group that would meet your own needs. We also accommodate all different kinds of learners. And so we have the curriculum available in lots of different formats. And we allow you then to set your own schedule and work in a way and at a time that is most convenient for you. So some people are doing it all by listening, and they're driving to work or doing chores and listening to recordings. Other people are printing out the slides and underlining and learn best that way. So the number of hours that it will require per week varies based on the type of learner that you are. And we work with you to personalize it if something is not working.
And I also wanted to say that there is a really great resource on the website. It's our information packet. So if you have a chance and you can head over to the website, functionalmedicinecoaching.org, you can download that. It has a lot of information about time and other requirements. And there's some really great video tutorials as well on our curriculum page of our website. So the next question comes from Krista, and she asks, what are the prerequisites? Is this a field that offers part-time work?
Yeah.
So multiple questions.
Yeah. So the prerequisites are your passion for helping others, being a good listener and thinking, gee, I want to give back. I want to really help people on this journey to find wellness, better health. And so it is really a characteristic that you already have. And so that is something that we find consistently with people who come to study with us. And then the second part of the question.
The second part of the question is this a field that offers part-time work?
Part-time work, full-time work. Many people have existing careers and they are continuing in that career. Perhaps they were in marketing or finance or lawyers. We've had people from many different professions. Maybe you've been in healthcare as a nurse, maybe in wellness, you're a yoga teacher, a personal trainer. You may want to continue what you're currently doing and start to coach on the side. And then some people are close to retirement or in retirement, and they're doing this as a way that they never imagined they would see themselves being in the workforce. And so it really is just limited by your imagination and what you want to do. And we are here. We have a robust alumni program where we are helping people with mentoring in how to build your business. So the first part of the question in terms of what you need, and it is your passion and your desire to serve and who you are, will lead me into what a little peek into our curriculum, and that is positive psychology. So if you'll bear with me, I'd like to share my screen and pull up a few slides. So get this going here. So we base our program on positive psychology. I was a psychologist for over 35 years and was studying positive psychology before this had a name. And so it's the part that we blend. So our program is the merger of positive psychology with the basic principles of functional medicine, and they go together really well. So, explain a little bit about positive psychology. So what was it like before positive psychology? Well, that field, which I know really well as a psychologist, there was something wrong with you. Similarly, in medicine, it's all based on symptoms and finding a diagnosis. Something's wrong and you need to be fixed. Positive psychology is a scientific study, just like functional medicine is a scientific, evidence-based approach. And positive psychology is the study of what's right with you, what's working. And it looks at these key questions like flourishing. What does that really mean? And so what we delve into in the course is, how do you enjoy a life well lived? What does that mean? And Martin Seligman, who's considered the father of positive psychology, talks about this change that took place in this field of psychology from the past, which was a preoccupation with repairing the worst in life, to building the best qualities in life. And that's what we want. As coaches, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be helping these individuals find what's best with them. And why is that so important? Because that will lead to healing, not only physically, but emotionally as well. And the cool thing is that it is, as you study this, what we find when we talk to people in the program, graduates, this is a personal journey of transformation as well, because studying these really great principles, as you practice them, and practice them you will, because we have assignments that will be doing your own personal exploration, and sometimes sharing with your family as well if you choose to. And it starts with a concept called PERMA, and that has to do with what's called the 5 pillars of well-being. It's positive emotions, like having, what is happiness? What is feeling of contentment? Engagement, where you're so fully involved in something. That is very necessary for achievement. Relationships that are positive and meaningful. And having a sense of meaning and purpose. And as a coach, you will learn to ask the key questions, because coaching is really about listening and then asking. So meaning and purpose. And then the 5th one is achievement. However small, it doesn't have to be big, big achievements. We're not talking about getting an A+. And by the way, I should add that at FMCA, it is not like the old school way of learning where you're going to have an exam and you're going to get a letter grade. We do have assignments, but they are all, many of them are working in a way where you're getting feedback, but it is not that old approach. Getting a grade. So how do you get to PERMA, these 5 pillars of well-being? Well, you get it through your character strengths. That's really be the nuts and bolts of what you'll learn. at FMCA, you will know backwards and forwards. There are 24 character strengths that have been very well validated. You will learn what they are, how to use them. They're about what's right with you, the underlying foundation for well-being. Some are more heart-centered, like love and kindness. Some are of the mind, like having a sense of perspective and good judgment. Some are interpersonal and have to do with relationships, teamwork, for example. Others are more within you, intrapersonal. And what we're going to do is teach you how to nourish these strengths that you already have right now, how to discover them within you, because that's how you will have a life well lived and have a coaching career that will flourish. And it's how you can help people that you will be seeing that will discover their strengths. So that is what FMCA is about. It's about taking these principles that are so powerful, positive psychology, and merging them with the equally powerful principles and techniques and strategies and the educational component of functional medicine, so that you can also be an educator for people and help them get well. So I'm going to end sharing my screen.
I always love hearing that. I find it so powerful. And so I hope you all do as well. And this next question really kind of hits home and is a great question to keep moving on with. And Tara writes, as an RN, so registered nurse, what would I have to gain from becoming a health coach? And I'll let Sandy start, but I want to just say that so many nurses, we have so many nurses in the program. So
Yes. Mm-hmm. So number one, it is a personal transformation, so that if you never became a coach, you will be able to grow personally and also better serve the people you're currently working with. And we have many people who are coaches, and I'd like to share a story. Her name is Honey, and she was in our very first class. She was a nurse full-time at a hospital, had been a nurse for many, many years. And so she learned coaching, and then she started to see one person and then a second person. And then it took few years and she gradually transitioned. First, she shifted from full-time to part-time. And then when she felt ready, she moved into a full-time coaching practice, and she's really thriving in that role. So there's two ways then. When you learn the coaching principles, you are better able to do what you're currently doing. And then you may find that what is really nourishing you is this opportunity to have a different relationship with somebody, where you are no longer the expert telling somebody what to do, or in the case of you happen to be employed, somebody is within the large hospital system telling you what to do. You now can really engage with somebody. The other area that you can do, which is growing, is lead groups. Many people who are working for large hospital systems, for example, there's another nurse who's a graduate, and she's now working with HR in her hospital, and she's running wellness programs for staff, for other nurses, helping nurses deal with burnout, for example. So I really believe the sky's the limit when you have a nursing background and coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that can be expanded to all different types of background. You can really bring in we have so many multi-passionate people who bring all of their gifts in and combine it with coaching, and then go out into the world and share and use it in whatever, feels right for them. So Yvonne asks, is there an age limit for participants who would like to become health coaches?
We have students in their 80s. I started FMCA with Elyse. I was 65 and everybody around me was retiring. I'm not that kind of person to retire. And we have a lot of people in our community who feel the same way. And so there is no limit to becoming a coach. There's no defined age limit, and there's really no ageism. So we have many students who are older than our graduates, and they are finding work. They are often working with people in their contemporaries who are dealing with things like memory loss, like neurodegenerative conditions, and they are helping them with these chronic illnesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to reiterate, we have students from all walks of life, all ages, all backgrounds. So there really is no limit. We just want to encourage you to follow your heart and your head and what you're wanting to do. I'm thinking back to a person I spoke with from Cleveland just the other day, and he and his wife are in their late 60s, and they're retired, but they want to give back, they want to serve, and they want to certainly share their passion for health and wellness. So they are going to be starting the program together, which is wonderful.
We have a couple from Iowa who are in their 80s. Elyse and I both have office hours. It's one of the things that I love. I know Elyse loves as well. And it's a small group over Zoom like this. And just a few days ago, there was someone who was concerned about her age. She had just graduated and she said, well, I'd be rejected because of ageism. And we worked it through, and she left energized with a plan that she was going to initiate and then come back to my office hours in a few months. And we would look at what changed. Did she meet her goal, and how we can rework it. So we love to help you through this so that you don't feel when you leave you're alone and I got certified, now what? I feel lost. So we have a lot of support that we provide.
Yeah, absolutely. And Anne asks, what percentage of the curriculum is focused on the skill of coaching?
So we teach the process of coaching, all of the requirements, because we're an approved school by the national board. That means they reviewed our curriculum with a very fine-tooth comb. And so we meet their standards. That means that we teach the coaching process. We teach how to structure a section. We teach the ethics of coaching, the specific techniques of coaching. What is the first session like? What is a follow-up session? What is termination? We also, one of my favorite parts of the curriculum is coaching in action. And that's where you actually, so it's not just listening to a webinar or somebody talk about coaching principles, but you actually see it. And what I love is that we show it two ways. We show the inappropriate. Here's a coach who's acting badly. This is not what you should be doing. And then we also have videos where we're showing this is what it looks like when you're actually coaching.
And this kind of is a great segue into the next question from Catherine. And I'm sure that this has crossed a lot of your minds as well. But how is this program, how is FMCA different from any other coaching program? And could this be a good thing to do after you finish a coaching program, a different one?
We have many, many students who take other programs. There are a lot of great programs. I would want to emphasize that what is different is that we are the only program that was built in collaboration with the Institute for Functional Medicine, and they are continuing. They are our partner. We are the exclusive coaching program through the Institute for Functional Medicine. What does that mean? It means that their senior faculty teach for us as well. It also means that it's the same materials. So they have food plans, they have, for example, the practitioners who train, they're going to sessions and they're going to see particular slides. Well, you will have those slides. What is different is that we add the whole positive psychology of eating, mind-body medicine component, and we are not teaching you to be medical doctors practicing functional medicine. So there's some content that IFM will include in their training that isn't appropriate for you because it is getting too deep into the biochemistry. But that is how we are different, and we are proud of our affiliation with the Institute for Functional Medicine.
Yeah, and I would just add on to that, reiterate, there is so much support in this community. This is probably one of the most loving, supportive communities that I've ever known. Sandy and I have office hours like she shared. There is a ton of support that you can get from your cohort and the larger community, FMCA community, as well as alums. Your course facilitators are there as a support. So there are many different ways to get that support, even though this is an online learning environment. So, and the next question I wanted to share, which kind of goes into even more support, it's from Deepa. And Deepa writes, does your health coaching program offer a job board after graduation for candidates wishing to join existing practices?
Yes, we have a full-time director of alumni development, strategic development, and we have practitioners. So those people who have trained through IFM and others who have not trained through IFM as well, they want to hire a coach. They go through, we have basically a matching where we will have a way to, we post a job. And then we also have people who want to work with a coach, and we have a find a coach. So and this is continually growing. And I'm also wanting to announce, I'm so excited, and that is we are developing for the next class an optional business building basics track that will really prepare you to go out and get a job. And it will include all of the things that, the basic things that you would need to know, whether you're going to start your own business, and many people want to start their own business, or whether you want to work with a practitioner. We are looking at what people need through focus groups, what do they want in this arena, and that is in development.
So there's another question that comes up quite a bit, and this is for current health coaches who want to go into this functional medicine approach, but they're trying to understand what's the difference between an integrative approach or just an overall wellness approach. What really makes the difference with functional medicine?
Sure. So there's a lot of overlap between functional medicine and integrative medicine. So what is the difference? So functional medicine is a systems-based approach. So what it looks at is how we function by everything working together. So if you have a conventional approach, if you go to the doctor, I have a rash, you're going to go to skin doctor. You have irregular heartbeats, maybe you're seeing a cardiologist. You're depressed, you've got a psychiatrist. So you have these separate silos. And what's happening in those silos is that they are looking, what's wrong with you? They're going to give you a diagnosis. So, okay, you have clinical depression. Now, how are we going to treat it? Or you have a rash, you have eczema. How are we going to treat this? So it's looking at finding a diagnosis and finding a way to treat it. And in functional medicine, we look at what's the root cause? What's going on under the hood? Why are you having all of these symptoms at this particular time in your life? Could it be inflammation? Could it be oxidative stress? Then looking at starting with diet and lifestyle change, and then moving on up there. And so functional medicine is not against drugs or surgical interventions, but it is looking at the whole picture. What is that in relationship to integrative medicine? Well, someone who is solely trained in integrative medicine is similar to that conventional approach, except now, let's say they have a patient and they're going to determine this person's depressed. Well, instead of an antidepressant, that integrative physician might give them St. John's wort. They're still looking at treating the symptom. So functional medicine doctors may do the same thing. When they find out what's going on, they may bring in supplements and herbs and light therapy and different treatments that are considered different from conventional. So there's a lot of overlap. And in all of those worlds, I have to say, health and wellness coaching is growing. In fact, it's exploding. And so as a functional medicine certified health coach, it doesn't mean that you're just going to be in that slot to only work with functional medicine practitioners. There's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Sandy, because that's one of the next questions, is really looking at the whole picture and the broader perspective. You know, what does the market look like with health coaches? Is it saturated? Are insurance companies, hospitals going to start looking at health coaching a lot differently? And what can we, look forward to?
Yeah. So we work very closely with the board, National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching. Our program is an approved school, meaning as a graduate, you can sit for their exam to become national board certified. And they have been working hand in hand with the American Medical Association. And as of the first of the year, January of 2020, they're rolling out what's called Category 3 CPT codes. That is the procedural code that you would use if you are going to build insurance. Now, the Category 3 code, what that means is it's identify that, hey, this is pretty promising. Health coaching, this is cool. Like, this is up and coming. It's like it's trending, if you think of it that way. So, hey, health coaches is trending. We're going to watch it. We're going to see if this Category 3, how many people are using it. And so we're anticipating then that health coaching, and this is just not our opinion, this is the opinion of the National Board. And so they are anticipating that it's only a matter of time that there will be insurance reimbursement. So what does that mean? It means that health coaching is no longer this fringe element that's not recognized. It is front and center. It is a legitimate career. It is a profession within healthcare. And we're seeing more and more demand. So even from the time that FMCA started 5 years ago, we've seen an explosion of demand. And the demand will increasingly be in these major medical centers for health and wellness coaches who are board certified. And the second big trend, we're super excited because month or so ago, the Journal of the American Medical Association released a major study. This was coming from the Cleveland Clinic. So the Cleveland Clinic has a Center for Functional Medicine. The Cleveland Clinic ranks up there. It is the premier, or what with Mayo, the most prestigious medical institutions. And they had a controlled study where they looked at people who went through the Center for Functional Medicine versus another area of primary care. Guess what? People who went through the functional medicine program did a whole lot better. And here's what's super exciting for us at FMCA. Who were they seeing? That, yes, they were seeing functional medicine doctors led by Dr. Mark Hyman, who happens to be on our faculty and our board of advisors, but they were seeing health coaches, and health coaches were running groups in Cleveland Clinic. And this model is now being replicated, called Functioning for Life, from Cleveland Clinic. We're working very closely with the developer of that program, and she is going to be working with us. And we were the ones who trained many of those coaches who were at Cleveland Clinic leading those programs. So it's super exciting. It's pretty big that the study was in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really exciting time. And there's a great question that goes along with this from Callie, who says, well, what are the best practices for group coaching and where can I learn more about that?
Yeah, we love that. So I have a whole long history of leading groups dating back, I don't want to say a lot, like to the 70s. And so how to facilitate a group is something that we teach. We're planning to teach it even more. And Elyse and I started together back in the Chicago area, and we ran a group in a doctor's office. And so we know the ins and outs of running a group. And so there's a webinar that we have where we teach the basics. We have one of our faculty members, Dr. Shilpa Saxena, is in the forefront of teaching group medical visits. Those are facilitated by coaches. We also have others on our faculty who are experts in training in the group medical visit model. And so we are really committed to teaching you how to facilitate a group and how to feel confident in the process and how to know what some of the challenges might be when you get a group of people together.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to reiterate that if you go onto our website under the programs tab, there's a short course tab, and we actually have a short course on group coaching. So I would encourage you to just check that out if you just want to kind of get a little bit more information and understand a little bit more. You can look into that.
And that course is taught by Dr. Shilpa Saxena, who I just referenced, who is on our faculty and very prominent in the field of training for group medical visits.
Mm-hmm. So then Laura asks, once I gain the certificate, am I legally able to coach clients and work independently?
Yes. So you can work as a coach. We strongly recommend that people sit for the board exam, but you 100% don't have to. It's not a requirement to coach, and you can begin anywhere. You can begin. I used to run groups in my kitchen, in my living room. So it can be done anywhere. You can have walking groups. You can do tours of. You can have groups in a grocery store. Lots of different opportunities, but yes, you will be eligible to work as a coach.
Mm-hmm. And then Sandy, you'll love this one. I think, well, both of us will love this question, but does health coaching target mainly nutrition aspects, or can I make my niche more mental health?
Oh, absolutely. So that is one of the ways that distinguishes health coaching from working as a nutritionist or dietitian. You're not pigeonholed into just talking about food. And many times people will come to you and maybe the doctor wants them to talk about what to eat, but they want to talk about stress at work, or they want to talk about relationships with their children or their spouse. And so you can focus on those areas. And we also teach mind-body medicine, mindfulness-based meditation. Some people specialize in that. And you may specialize, perhaps you want to focus on movement and help people move with movement, exercise, or sleep. Sleep and restorative practices. So absolutely. And really the key in coaching is it's client-centered. So you go where the client wants to go, where they want to talk about. It's not what you want, but many, many different specialties. Some people work with children and families and lead groups of parents for stress. Sometimes people work with academic stress and issues. So really many different options. And I think that's a good segue as we're talking about mental health to just pause a moment, because the holidays are coming up. We've already had one big one, Thanksgiving, and we had mentioned that we would talk a bit about navigating holiday stress. And that's a great topic to specialize in during this time of year as a coach, or even after the holidays. And how do you recover from the holiday period? So this really is an area that intersects so well with positive psychology. And what we focus on in positive psychology is to focus on what's right and not what's wrong. And I want to dig a little further to share an example of that. So I have 2 daughters, and I raised them as, I can't even say, it was such a nutty idea, but vegans, because this was back in the 80s. In the 80s, fat was bad, and it was absolutely like you had to be fat-free. And so I strongly believed that couldn't have any fat, but carbs were good. And so I remember one Thanksgiving when my daughters were young, and I went to, this was my sister-in-law's house, and we were having dinner, and she made a stuffing, and my girls were really enjoying it. And I happened to ask her, what's in it? And she mentioned that she had made it, the secret, and it was grandmother's recipe. It had come with chicken fat. That was what gave it the flavor. Okay, I got so upset that my daughters were having this horrible chicken fat and just basically lost it. I was so angry. I was so upset. And I think I took their plates away, or said, oh, let's have the tofurkey. Don't you really, we'll have the tofurkey instead, which I had brought myself. And because, God forbid they should have the real chicken. So why am I telling you this story? Because it leads into character strengths. First of all, I thought I knew everything, so I wasn't using my strength of humility. that I didn't have all the answers, because flash forward to contemporary times, chicken fat is now sold at Whole Foods. It's healthy. It's not 100% if you eat it all the time, but fat is back. Fat is good. Now I have the regular pasture-raised organic turkey, and I wouldn't have something that is made with tons of chemicals, that is made in a plant that is overly processed. And so thinking has evolved based on research. So I wasn't using humility. And the other thing that I was not doing, I was overusing my strength of self-regulation, but I was underusing my strengths of kindness and forgiveness. And so those are some key character strengths. And what we teach you is how to balance that. And also there's a whole component at FMCA that's the psychology of eating and finding joy in eating and not sacrificing the relationships for micromanaging, because sometimes you can get too micromanaged. We may see clients like this who are weighing everything and counting every calorie and every gram of fat, and so obsessed with that they're stressing themselves out, and the stress is going to hurt you more physically and even in terms of your digestion. So Elyse, how are you relating? Because you've now got a little one, and as a parent of a young child, how are you navigating this?
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that story, and I can certainly relate. And now that, yeah, I do have a 2-year-old, and we certainly have certain food values in our household and how we are raising our daughter, which is gluten-free and dairy-free, and as processed food-free as possible. And you're absolutely right. It's utilizing this balance of, because we're in the holiday season, there's lots of fun treats around, and she's at an age where she's like, well, what's that? Well, I want to try that. I want to eat that. And then you have, family coming over who are wanting to share their love through food and making dishes, and how do you navigate that and say, no, thank you, and respect them, but also respect where we're at as well. And so one of the things in talking about character strengths is, for me, taking a step back and like really looking at the big picture and saying, well, most of the time, about 90% of the time, Shay eats really, really well, and we make all of her food, and she's involved in that, and she sees that, and we eat in a calm environment. And so that's most of the time. So, a smaller portion of the time, she can go ahead and enjoy like the orange Jello marshmallow thing and have that as a fun treat and make a memory about that. The other strength is creativity. For me, I don't want her to feel out of sorts or left out by any means. So she's getting to the point where there's parties happening, birthday parties and holiday parties. And so I will do my due diligence as much as possible to call ahead, see what's on the menu or what is the cake or the cupcake that they're having, and make something similar. So it's gluten-free or dairy-free or whatever, but she can still enjoy it. It's still going to have sprinkles. So we're trying to find a balance, and it's I don't think we're ever there. We're just always moving along those lines. So, yeah.
So a lot of this navigating holiday stressors comes from, how do you do that? You use what comes from cognitive behavior therapy. In other words, looking at your self-talk, looking at the demands that you're placing, the shoulds, the have-tos, the musts. And I love what Elyse just said about kind of she doesn't have to be 100% doing this. And I think that's one of the life lessons of parenting. And also, as you get to be my age, you have a better perspective and you realize that we are imperfect. We cannot do things 100%, and really looking at saying things like, so what? So what if? What's the long-term consequence? And often at the holiday time, we get caught up with, I have so much to do. And we have these rules that we set. You have to have presents perfectly wrapped, or you have to have certain things done on a certain timetable. You often forget to take care of yourself, or even your own self-care. You place demands on that. You get upset because you didn't go out for your run. And so it just piles up, this overlay of more and more stress. based on what you have to do. And often you find when you really work through that it's arbitrary. Who made that rule that you have to do things according to this deadline, according to these standards? And so a lot of coaching can be asking people the right questions or getting them to think about using logic, that who set up these standards and what would it look like if you did it differently? And you get to the point of looking at what is most essential, what really brings you joy. So if we look at, for example, the food issues, because that's challenging. You may have, like, Elyse and I have spouses or in-laws, or have family members who don't understand why you're eating a certain way. And so you look at, well, do I want to really sacrifice the relationship? Is it this important? What matters most? And so in the long run, then, and through positive psychology, we really focus on the importance of community, relationships, love as so key to health, to healing. And so we look there first, and sometimes being able to step back, often laughing. I love laughter, and humor is a really key character strength. And being able to look back and just let it go and maybe laugh about it. And it's a great way to diffuse tension, particularly over the holidays. So to really step back and ask yourself what matters most. And that's one of the key questions that you will learn when you become a coach.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. We could talk about this for hours and days. I feel like
lots of questions, and we want to be observant of time and make sure that we answer some more questions. If we don't get to them all, there'll be a way that you will definitely get your question answered.
Yes, absolutely. So, and just to let you know, if there are questions that you have, and if you had to pop off or whatnot, you can always come to the website. You can go to the contact us page, and you can either schedule a call with an admissions team member. You can call us directly and speak with Vicki, who's on our admissions team. And she's also a graduate of the program, and our number's on the website. And you can also email us at admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. So there's so many ways to contact us. And moving on to this other question. So we have a lot of students from, I want to say definitely over 30 or 35 different countries. And so one of the questions that comes up is, well, what if I live in a country where no one really knows about functional medicine, or no one really knows what a functional medicine doctor is? How can I use this training and really start and set up referrals, and what do I do?
Perfect opportunity. Take that at what you could see it as a challenge, but you can also see it as wide open opportunities. You are now that person who will represent not only functional medicine as a coach, but the whole functional medicine world. That means you can educate, you can give talks, you can really become the spokesperson and be identified in that space. So you can claim that. You can also help. You can have regional meetups. There's somebody who is in Saudi Arabia. She was one of our early graduates, and she is now on our team. She's in our admissions team. She's a course facilitator for us, but she was that person in Saudi Arabia, and she started having groups in her living room. It's grown, it's expanded. We have another graduate early on in Mumbai. She's the only functional medicine person in Mumbai. She has written books now. She has group programs. She has partnered. She has encouraged a doctor to train with Institute for Functional Medicine. They have a clinic that they run together. There are so many examples of that, and so the precedent has been set in other countries, and so we can guide and help you to build that up in your country.
Yeah, and the other beautiful thing about this is when you're a coach, you can coach virtually. So you don't have to coach within your country. Let's say that you moved to a different country from the States or from Canada or wherever you're from. You can certainly connect with other practitioners, doctors, and people who are looking to be coached and do this virtually. So there is endless possibilities. Moving on to another important question that I'm sure a lot of you all have is, what is the average salary of a health coach? What does it look like to get paid, and how do you figure that out?
Sure. Well, it varies greatly. So there is no one average. It is really would be very misleading to say there's an average, because it depends where you live. It depends how you're working. So we have some people who have started their own business. They're very entrepreneurial and go-getters, and they are making they're charging $100 an hour, more than that, $150 an hour, for example. They have group programs, they have membership programs, lots of different models. They may be paid for speaking engagements. They may be writing books, and that's adding to their income. We also have those who maybe they're just starting out. Maybe they are not concerned about actually the dollar amount. They want to work their way up. And so they may be working in a practitioner's office, and there it would be comparable to perhaps what a dietitian might be earning. And it's something that you negotiate with the practitioner, depends on your own comfort level. And so we do encourage you to charge what you're worth. And so those are some specifics that we will work with you on. But again, it is based on who you are. Some people come to FMCA, they have a background that they are using. It doesn't always have to be a background in healthcare. So yes, you could be somebody with a nutrition background. That's going to play into how much you're going to get paid. But here's another idea, and this is very common. We have people who have a flair for marketing, or they're really good with tech. Go into a doctor's office, they don't have a flair for that. So you can be very valuable, so that you are bringing in skills that you have. You're being compensated for that as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, good point, Sandy. And then I want to bring this up because this is a feeling, and I think a fear that a lot of people have, and it's totally normal and it's okay. But Candace writes, I'm really nervous about dedicating my time and the resources, the funds, towards going into this kind of a field, especially if I don't have a medical background. So how can I actually be able to make a career out of this? And I want to share, if Sandy's got something to share, and I also just want to encourage you that to talk this out. You can call one of our admissions team members, and we're happy to talk this out with you and to answer more of your questions and to understand what might be holding you back, or to even brainstorm ideas with you on what you could be doing in the meantime, or as you're going through the program. Yeah. So I want to encourage you that don't allow your nervousness or fear to hold you back if this is something that's pulling you forward.
So I want to share a couple examples. Well, first of all, saying that the research doesn't bear out that you have to have a medical background. Some of the best coaches have no background, and they are coming from other careers. So we've had people who have the highest credentials in healthcare, and they struggle becoming a coach. Why? Because they've been trained as the experts, and it's very difficult for them. We have somebody who's going through the program who is actually had been on the leadership team of IFM, and she said it's really difficult for me to switch hats, because I'm so used to telling people this is what you need to eat. This is, you need to lose this number of pounds. Making that transition is hard for people who have that medical background. Secondly, I want to share a story about Laura. A few years ago, we had a meetup in New York. Laura took the train in from New Jersey, and she had just started FMCA, and she had a marketing background. And she was saying the same thing you are. She was so nervous, like, oh my God, will I find work? I have no background in healthcare, no knowledge whatsoever. But she, as many people come to us, she had a passion to serve. And she also had some challenges medically. She has appeared on Mark Hyman's Broken Brain documentary. She has gone to conferences. She has connected with people, with leaders in environmental illness, and is really just her career is soaring. And she's doing really well, and it's been on podcast interviews. So that's just one example of what's possible when you are taking risk. And this does involve bravery, and that's a character strength that you'll study. But bravery and curiosity and love of learning and zest and excitement. It's my top character strength. If you didn't guess it by now, I'm in my bouncy ball. And Elyse says that as well. She mentioned creativity. So it's really focusing on what you want to do and picturing that. So picturing it now, like, what do you want? What do you want your life to look like as a certified health coach? That happens to be one of our first assignments.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, we're totally happy to talk that through with you, and you can always reach out to us. Another great question that I love this question. So Tammy writes, do you foresee the need for a functional medicine health coach being long-term, or are they going to be phased out by nurses or nutritionists who attain more functional medicine degrees or certifications?
There's room for all. And we like to look at a rising tide lifts all boats model because, yeah, there might be nutritionists and others entering the field. There are coaches, there are more coaches that are needed, but it is just in its infancy. And the power of collaboration is huge. And we want more people to enter the field. Why? Because in order to be recognized more and more as a distinguished profession, it's because more people are entering the field. And so it just elevates everybody. It's been said that it's around 100,000 that at least to become like a critical profession. So yes, it's very actually helpful, more people, but there's your specialty is not going to go away. In fact, the opportunity to collaborate with those people who are coming in as nutritionists or yoga instructors really increase. And we have a lot of our graduates who are doing just that, where they're teaming up with people from other specialties and they're starting businesses together or referring to one another.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing I would just add to that is the skills of coaching can be utilized in all different types of modalities, whether you're a nutritionist or a nurse or a doctor, or you're in marketing, like Sandy said. We have, coaching can be utilized in so many different ways. And I'll just speak on one point, as a nutritionist myself and going through undergrad degree in nutritional sciences and dietetics, I realized, holy cow, I'm missing a huge piece to helping people actually make sustainable lifestyle behavior changes. And that was the health psychology, the positive psychology piece that I further, went on to get. And so going through that kind of conventional way of schooling, I noticed that not a lot of people get that. And so this is something that we're seeing nutritionists and other modalities come forward to get this type of coaching and add it on to what they're already doing.
And the more they do that, the more they're going to recognize the value of coaching. And so then they will refer out. So it becomes a network supporting one another.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so Rihanna and a couple other people are asking more about the business building side of coaching and confidence. How am I going to gain my confidence to go out and start a practice and really build my business?
Sure. So we are going to work intensively with you on overcoming the imposter syndrome. We all have it. I have it. Elyse has it, I'm sure. And it's the sense of like, no matter where you are, I don't know enough. I'm incompetent. I don't know enough. And somewhere along the line, someone's going to challenge me and that is a very common experience where you think other people who are entering coaching, they know more than me, maybe they have medical backgrounds, maybe they've been a coach before, and why did I do this? I don't know enough. And so we will work intensively with you on how do you let that feeling go? How do you build up a sense of being good enough, having what you need? And coaching really is about listening. It's about mindfulness, hope, compassion that you bring to the session. And so it's being a good listener, having that. And so that is key. And so it really is the basics of building a business. If there's something you want to know, we will provide that for you. One of the ways we use office hours is to help. We also have an alumni program. It's a membership program for our graduates where they have mentoring on building their business, mentoring on working with clients. We have Ask the Experts. They still have access to our office hours. And as I said earlier, we are building a complete track, focusing on business, where we are bringing in some of the biggest names in marketing, in business, to teach you how to do it, ranging from legal issues, how do you get yourself set up, what do you need legally, what do you need in terms of ethically as a coach, to things like finances, as well as the area that you mentioned in terms of building confidence. And how do you define yourself? How do you put your best foot forward to be the best possible coach?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Melinda asks a really good question. She feels that her last program that she took, which was supposed to be about coaching, really fell short in that area. So she is curious, what is the percentage of the program that really focuses on actual coaching skills?
Sure. So we have, it's actually hard to define by percentage because everything is always connected back. So we have a series of basic training that's more at the beginning of the program, where it's probably exclusively talking about the coaching, and it'll guide you. And so it's three parts. You may have a webinar, an interview. You also then have an opportunity in your live training session with your cohort, your course facilitator, where you are practicing. I'm going to play the coach, you be the client. You bring an issue and you practice, you get feedback, and then you watch videos of coaching in action. And that continues throughout. So no matter what we're talking about, we may be bringing in an IFM faculty talking about dysbiosis and leaky gut, but it's going to lead back in the questioning, how do you use this as a coach? So it's all about bringing back the coaching skills, the issues of how do you coach. So again, we can't pin a number on it. We have the formal requirements from the national board, so we cover every area of coaching that they require, and then go way over that in terms of what we offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Sandy and I and everyone on FMCA, we're dedicated to making sure you come out as a confident coach. So you are really coming out feeling confident. So, and there's a lot of support to help you with that as well. There was a question that came in regarding if you could speak with someone or an alumni, and you absolutely can. So I want to share with you how you can do that right now. You can head over to our website, functionalmedicinecoaching.org. You can click the Contact Us button, and then there's a place where you can schedule a call. That's the best way. So you can connect with one of our admissions team members, and then what will happen is you'll hop on a call, and you'll be able to get they'll be able to get a better sense for what you're looking for and connect you to someone who can really answer some of the questions. Let's say you're a nurse or a nutritionist, or maybe you're someone who's totally coming from a different field or background. They're going to be able to really connect you with that person, so you can have that conversation and really learn some more information and have some insights. So we're just going to take a couple more questions here. And one of the last questions is, what are some of the unexpected challenges that students experience while studying to become a health coach?
I think the biggest challenge, which is thinking that this is like an old school way of, you feel like I'm back in school, as if you had a textbook and you have to memorize everything. And so people really go overboard with thinking they need to print out things. And we're really focused more on the process of coaching, the experience of learning, as opposed to memorizing the facts. The facts will always be there. You have access to content. But how you use it, that can be a challenge. So it doesn't have to be just memorizing. I think one of the other unexpected, and it's really not a challenge, but it's a positive, coming in to, many times people will resist like the personal exploration. For example, we talked about these character strengths. So we have assessments that comes from the Institute of Character. So one of the first things you will do is learn your own signature strengths. And so sometimes that can be a challenge if you're digging into your own personal traits and motivations. And then the other would be the unexpected surprise of how close you get with people in your cohort group. And it's challenging to leave it. So graduation is a challenge. There are tiers of the cohort groups leaving, and many decide to continue on after graduation because you get so close with this group of people. So that can be challenging.
Yeah,
having
absolutely.
to say goodbye.
Yeah. And I did speak with one of our course facilitators, and one of the challenges they shared was just budgeting the time, just making sure that you are budgeting your time and your calendar. And we have a lot of support to help you with that as well. So one of the last two questions, this is a great question coming from a physician's assistant, Cheryl, and she's new to functional medicine. And she's saying, I'm interested in learning more about the role of the health coach whom I potentially may hire in the future, which is awesome.
So yeah, so you will definitely get a deep dive into the role of a coach and real understanding, because there's a lot of people out there who don't understand what coaches actually do.
Mm-hmm. And Cheryl, I would encourage you, if you're curious and you want to dig into this question a little bit more, I'm happy to speak with you, and anyone on our admissions team is also happy to share with you and kind of paint a picture of what that could look like in your specific practice. Okay, last question, and one that I think is very important is Betsy asks, am I gonna learn to run labs and interpret labs? I know this is such a hot question for a lot of people.
Yes. So you will learn about specialty labs for information only. And I want to end by just sharing a story. And that is, I was trained as a clinical psychologist. In order to be licensed in the state of Illinois, I had to take an exam by the state. And on that licensing exam, there was a huge section on psychopharmacology. I had took specialized courses in my doctoral training on drugs. And why was I learning this? I was learning this because I would have patients then who were on those medications and I need to know about them. But I knew this was against my license. I could not, they would revoke my license if I had a prescription pad and was writing out those prescriptions for those meds. Same thing with coaching. In coaching, we call people clients because you're not medical practitioners. But you will learn about labs. That's part of the functional medicine curriculum. However, it's outside the scope of practice to run and interpret labs. That would be like having that prescription pad and ordering something. That is against the code of ethics. It is against the scope of practice for coaches. But having the knowledge and information is important. So I hope that clarified it.
I think so. I think that's wonderful. And we're done with our questions, but I want to encourage you, if you still have questions or maybe your question didn't get answered, please feel free to reach out to us. You can go to our website, contact us by phone, 855-270-3622, or you can email us at admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. And I just want to share one last time that our gift from FMCA to you all is, if you are interested in pursuing coaching, functional medicine health coaching, we are gifting you a $500 discount, which is the promo code, is holiday 2019, all in caps. And please reach out with any questions. And again, we really thank you for your time, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. On behalf of everyone at FMCA, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. We're honored that you chose to tune in. So thank you, and have a wonderful holiday if you celebrate, and a great rest of your day and week. Bye now.